Well, good afternoon, Amber. Thank you for that very inspiring speech. You know, Mark Twain once said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I admire people like you have figured out why they were born, and I appreciate your passion in what you do for our students. The teachers I had helped me get to where I am today, and it was because of those teachers, and I would not be where I am. So thank you for your passion and all that you do. It's my extreme pleasure to introduce our next speaker, someone who I have a great deal of admiration and respect for, and someone I'm proud to call my friend. Bill Noe is a true son of Marshall University, a former Marshall University Hall of Fame swimmer, a pilot, an accomplished business executive. The former Huntington native is someone who has had an immensely successful career in the aviation industry. Starting out as a flight instructor, Bill ultimately became the chief operating officer at NetJets, a Columbus, Ohio-based company owned by Warren Buffett that caters to the private air travel industry. In fact, in 2008, during the recession, NetJets had a very difficult time. In 2009, posted a $711 million loss. Management came in, and Bill Noe was the guy they called upon to help get things fixed. And the reason being is because they said Bill was selfless. Bill is a selfless leader, and if you work around Bill anytime, you will see that. Exhibiting that selflessness when it came time to build this school, he volunteered his time to help advise as we were making major decisions in the design and development of this facility that we're in here today. In recognition of his contribution, Marshall University has named the flight school the Bill Noe Flight School. A former Marshall University Board of Governor member and currently serves alongside me on the cabinet as our Chief Aviation Officer, Bill is just one terrific guy. He's married to his wife, Lisa, who I learned he married after only 72 days after they first met because she said no in the first 71 days. Bill and Lisa have two children, Nicholas, who's 26-year-old and serves our country as a Navy SEAL in the United States Navy, and their daughter, Riley, who's 24-year-old, an architect who is now in her third year of med school. So, ladies and gentlemen, my friend Bill Noe.
Thank you and welcome. I don't know which one is tougher. I listened to Amanda and thought, my goodness, not only did I get an aerodynamic lesson, and by the way, she was spot on everything she said and quite inspiring, and kind words from Tony. Thank you very much. I got in the utmost flattery, steal a phrase from you. The sky's the limit. It truly is limitless. And we're going to hopefully create a situation where we can lasso some dreams up in that sky and pull them down and become reality. Before we get too far into it, I want to recognize and just give a modicum of gratitude to a few folks. Any current, former, or retired military folks that we have in the house, thank you very much for your choice of careers. We're all greatly appreciative of that. Law enforcement, we have some in the house. Thank you. Firefighters, any first responders, thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do. Nancy Ritter, who gave the safety brief, is the head of the school, and there is no better aviation training professional on the planet than her. So we're very lucky to have her here. And she does all the heavy lifting. To all of you, thank you for coming and taking time to spend with us today. We appreciate it. And if we can ever do anything for you, don't hesitate to let us know. Who in here has not heard of a pilot shortage? Anybody? I don't see anybody's hands raised. If you've flown the airlines and been delayed or canceled, you probably get a good reason why that's the case. Well, it's not just pilots. It's every aspect of the aviation industry and all the supporting functions in aviation. Pilots we hear about. I think the latest statistic that I read was by the year 2032, even with us knowing that there's a pilot shortage and all this effort to bridge that gap, we're still going to be down 80,000 pilots in 2032. That's a lot. Think about the opportunity that creates. Well, let's say you may not want to be a pilot. After listening to the kindergarten story, I mean, I reminded myself of being in kindergarten flying a fake airplane around, and I'm like, we need more, encourage that, would you? because we need more of those little airplanes flying around. But it's also technicians to work on the airplanes. That's a huge exploding field. There's not enough. The statistics are very similar. It doesn't stop there. It's every aspect. It's dispatchers. It's flight attendants. It's operations people. It's anything you can think of. And the more aviation can grow, the more supporting functions it feeds. We will need more attorneys. We'll need more accountants. We'll need more finance people. We'll need more HR people. Aviation is in a prime situation to explode like it's mind-boggling right now to everybody in the aviation world how far behind the 8 ball we are. It really started in the 80s for a bunch of reasons, but was recognized in the early 2000s of this shortage coming. Then we had unfortunate events like 2011. We had some 2008 issues. Then we had some 2020 issues that gave us a little breathing room, but still did not help. We've known this has been coming for over 20 years, and we're still way behind the 8 ball. Opportunity. Being from West Virginia, I grew up here, and I'm very proud to be from this area in this state, and always have been. And being a true son of Marshall, anybody that knows me in the professional world knows I'm from Marshall, because as Ron Area came up and personally experienced it, when I walk around thousands of people that worked at NetJets, I'd be fist bumping them and going, I like that Marshall jacket you got on there. I like that Marshall green shirt you got on there. Whether it was any shade of green or not, I said it was Marshall. I think I said that to you. I like your Marshall green purple shirt you got on there. What that resulted in was people, when they would come across Marshall stuff, they'd buy it and put it on my desk. They'd put it in the airplane when I get on the airplane. Everybody knew Marshall. We didn't have any executive or leadership meetings that somebody didn't mention Marshall other than me, because I wouldn't pass up, of course, the opportunity. Very proud to be from here. Always been a spokesperson for us. I see such an immense amount of opportunity, but if you think about it, we've had an immense amount of talent pumped out of these mountains in this state. I mean, you can all name a bunch of them. I mean, Chuck Yeager, arguably the most famous pilot to ever walk the planet Earth, just a few miles from here. That's pretty cool. The list is long. You can think Mary Lou Retton. You think Don Knotts. I mean, you just go on and on and on about the people and the talent that we've come. And we've even had some aviation folks come out of here, other than Chuck Yeager. I used to joke I'm the second most famous pilot that ever came out of West Virginia. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like to tell myself that. So if you think about in aviation, we did have Chuck Yeager. That's a big deal. We had the unfortunate accident in 1970. They made a movie about it. So we tried to turn it into a little bit of a positive. We've had some original Tuskegee Airmen. Do you know that? We've had all branches of the military represented from aviation professionals out of West Virginia. It's been incredibly amazing to think about the deep roots in aviation that we have coming out of these areas. But the one thing they all had in common that you can think about their names, and there's more of them that you don't know their names than you do recognize their names, of course. But you know what they all had in common? They had line of sight to opportunity. And since I've been back and more involved with West Virginia and being in the local area here, that's something that's become very noticeable to me, except for Amber's class. She's got it down. But the line of sight to opportunity is something that I think we struggle trying to create and accomplish. But I would just have you think about for a minute, the opportunity in aviation is so wide open. And there's so many opportunities that it can create to pretty much answer 3 questions. And I'm not kidding about this. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? And how much money do you want to make? And it can pretty much happen. I'm not kidding. I've been on the phone this week alone with the likes of Airbus, Pratt & Whitney, General Electric, and they tell me you cannot fill positions fast enough. We will hire everybody. We can't find anybody. I was almost not here yesterday because I couldn't find a pilot, speaking of the pilot shortages, to fly a trip. I almost had to go do it myself. Drove the wonderful people of Education Alliance crazy back and forth, and I do apologize for that, but couldn't find one. Speaks directly to the shortage. And the other thing, in association with line of sight to opportunity, I think we have some ways to really create some magic, is the other thing I noticed since I've been back, and this I pick up on news feeds and things, and it really bothers me, to be honest with you. We somehow tend to, not everybody, but we somehow tend to talk ourselves down a little bit. And I hear people on the news talking about, well, that's pretty good from just little old West Virginia. And I'm like, what? Little old West Virginia? What? Yeah, well, if we only had this, well, if we could just do this. And I'm like, no. You know what we have here? We have one of the most beautiful states in the country with some of the most magnificent talent and incredibly intelligent people in the country. I know, because I've hired a bunch of them. If I saw West Virginia or Marshall or West Virginia University on the resume, I pretty much hired them without an interview because I knew what I was going to get. And that's true. Why would we do that? We should be shouting off the rooftops as loud as we can shout what we're about and what we have to offer. We are the East Coast Colorado. We just don't realize it in a lot of ways. We should. And we should make moves to create a magnetic pull for industries, operations, service centers, economic development to come to us. Now, I know we're doing a lot of work and we've made a lot of strides in that area, but we're not nowhere near where we could be. We're still on the runway getting ready to take off and launch into the limitless sky. We need to really focus on what we can do to promote this state. And if we keep saying it how there's much struggle, pretty soon if you say it long enough, you believe it yourself. And if you say it out loud, other people are going to believe it. And that's not a good thing. We should be reversing our narrative a little bit. And I think we can really do that. And now is the opportunity to do that. When I was 17 years old, I was driving down the road and I saw this sign that said, "Learn to fly, pull in here." Bill, back here, we were talking about it earlier. Lawrence County Airport, "Learn to fly, pull in here," which is a little airport right across the river from Huntington. And I walked in and I said, "Hey, learn to fly, pull in here." It says, "What do you do?" And well, it took me up on a little flight in a Cessna 150, 152, which is a very small little airplane. And that started it, I thought. I actually found out later in life my love of aviation started at about 2 years old, apparently. But I didn't know it at that point. Well, right after that, I went to Marshall and was a collegiate athlete. And if anybody ever been a collegiate athlete and trying to balance academics and sports, it's tough. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to fly. But after Marshall, I thought, okay, what do I want to do in life? I'm going to figure out how to go do something. And this little movie called Top Gun came out and relit the fire for my love of aviation and just turned everything towards it, went in full throttle and never looked back. And had a wonderful career in aviation that started as a pilot, went into more of an operational thing, turned into an executive position, and now I find myself back flying airplanes a little bit again, which is just full circle and just quite the joy. And the thing about aviation is, no matter where you are, it's one of the very few professions that offers total fulfillment. I mean, who can be in kindergarten flying around a fake airplane and then go get paid to do that? That's tough to match. And to this day, my wife says the only thing that makes you smile more than flying the airplane is when you come to West Virginia and do stuff with Marshall. And that's true. Chuck Yeager once said, anybody that grew up driving the roads of West Virginia has got to have the makings of a pretty good pilot. And he's right. He's right. That's a talent that you need to recognize and play off of. So there's so many pathways in aviation right now for folks to take advantage of that it truly is limitless. I mean, do you want to be a military pilot? What branch? Pick it. They will scoop you up just as sure as we're sitting here. They're trying to get my son to flip over to aviation because he got his private pilot's license, big surprise, before he got out of high school. So the Navy wants him as a Navy pilot. Well, do you want the regionals? Do you want the majors? Do you want private? Do you want corporate? Do you want fractional? Something near and dear to my heart. Or do you want cargo? Anything. It is flat, wide open for the pickings and all the supporting functions around that. We really need your help. Education Alliance, what you're doing is yeoman's duty. It's fantastic. The board here, my goodness, what an awesome platform to operate off of. But we need your help. We need to make this line of sight for opportunity more aware. Why don't we have aviation being talked about in kindergarten? Why don't we have it being talked about K through 12? Where are the counselors that need to be educated on where they are so they can point today's youth in the right direction or a direction to consider? There's so many opportunities in aviation, I really can't think of anything that doesn't touch aviation. You want to go in the medical field, aviation touches the medical field. You want to go in the finance world, it certainly touches the finance world. I mean, anything you can do. The aviation, as it grows, needs support. And I think what we can do, whether you're a business leader, whether you're a parent, whether you're educator, figure out ways that we can get line of sight to the opportunities all through all grades coming up to college. It's not too late. You know, I speak about the youth, but maybe some people that are a little bit more mature in age decide to turn to aviation. We have people in this school right now that are former law enforcement. They've got families with kids. They're not here to do a 4-year degree. They're here because they want to change professions, because they see the opportunity, and it's worth it. Give me another job that can offer total fulfillment and have guaranteed employment immediately upon certification and qualification. Immediate. Sometimes even before they're getting recruited, before they get their certifications and qualifications. It is a vacuum that is sucking up every available person that is remotely interested. Do you think we can do that? Do you think we can help one another a little bit? I mean, I can't imagine that our next generations couldn't benefit from a remotely close life to the life that I've been fortunate enough to experience. And anybody that you see that if an airplane goes over happens to look up, I still do it. If there's an airplane going over, I'm trying to find it, and there's clouds in the way, and I'm looking around, and my wife's going, "You're crazy." And I'm like, what if you see it? What are you going to do? I said, "I don't know. I just want to find it. I won't know what kind it is because it's too high. I just want to find it." If you see somebody doing that, say, "Hey, you may want to think about pursuing direction in this, and I know who you can talk to," and send them our way. Marshall University, when it was first conceptualized, was back in 2014 when Ron Area was up in my office in NetJets with his Marshall team. And it really came to fruition August of 2021 when this facility was open. It was designed with a strategy of two purposes. The first purpose was, yes, we're going to create an aviation program to train future aviators and produce very high talent out of this facility. Yes, we're going to do that. And we're already doing it. We're running at 330% above what our original projections were for enrollments. We're running about 6 months ahead of the course curriculum classes. We've established people already in their junior and senior year, and it's only into the second year. So we're going to do that. We're also going to use the aviation program at Marshall University to act as a marketing platform for Marshall University on the whole, to grow Marshall University. And then we're going to use Marshall University to help grow the state of West Virginia and the surrounding areas. We are so prime for companies to come in here and scoop up our talent. And I can tell you, these big companies, they are looking at us. Got one coming Monday, big company coming Monday to look at infrastructure and what we can do. That's exciting stuff. What we're doing in aviation with West Virginia alone, we're helping all the other aviation programs out from here at Marshall. If you're up in the middle part of the state, southern part of the state, north part of the state, it doesn't matter. We're helping you. We're helping some universities start up an aviation program that are just in the beginning stages of it. I like Marshall. I like Marshall Aviation. But the way I look at it, it's West Virginia Aviation. And we need to take advantage of these opportunities. When we say Marshall for all and Marshall forever, we mean it. And we're going to do our part to help grow and provide opportunity. And we hope that you guys will take anything away from this today as an initiative to help grow it too. Because you will only be benefiting our younger generations, their families, families, and all of the surrounding people. So thank you very much. Glad you'll be here, and I hope you enjoy the surprise in the hangar here in a little bit. Thank you, guys.